Hey everyone, it's Day here. As some of you may know, I started playing Guild Wars 2 on the week it launched back in 2012, and after many years away from the game, have been back playing consistently for the past 2 months. In that time, I feel I've developed a deep appreciation for the game, and wanted to share with you all the reasons that I think Guild Wars 2 is being slept on as an MMO in 2022, and why you should consider trying it yourself. This video won't go into huge detail about the endgame Guild Wars 2 content, as I'm not hugely familiar with it myself, and furthermore will also not mention PvP content like World vs. World for the same reasons. However, I hope you will enjoy my perspective anyway, and maybe want to try out the game for yourself after watching. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. First and foremost, I want to talk about the accessibility of the game. In my opinion, Guild Wars 2 has really conquered the monetization aspect of an MMORPG. Not only does the game have an extensive free-to-play model that allows you to experience the entirety of the base game, but it also doesn't require a monthly subscription to play. Not only this, but there isn't even an included optional subscription like many other free-to-play MMOs have. Once you buy Guild Wars 2, it is yours to play whenever. Despite this, Guild Wars 2 doesn't prompt too many microtransactions to keep up with content, in the way other games have to counteract its free-to-play model. Guild Wars 2 charges for its expansions and DLCs, alongside a few small quality of life options and nothing more. On top of this, if you log in during the launch week of DLC, you will more than likely receive it for free. And on the topic of the store, the best gear in the game is not obtainable through gold or gems alone, nor is it locked behind expansions and purchasable content, making the game free of pay-to-win mechanics. Any gold used on the store is used to access story content, quality of life changes, or cosmetics. Finally, regarding ease of access, the game has committed over the course of its 10 years to an entirely horizontal progression, meaning that the gateway to endgame content has never increased in that time, alongside the gear cap. This means that joining your friends at endgame is an easier task, and means that taking a break will not cost you any excess time to catch up. You won't feel that sense of FOMO, or fear of missing out, that some other games tried to push through gear and content catch-up mechanics. It is also super easy to help your friends level up due to all the zones scaling your character down, so that players can level together and still gain valuable XP. Second on my list of pros for Guild Wars 2 is the storytelling and characters included in the main storylines. I first played the main story of the game as a tween and felt incredibly immersed and attached to some of the characters in it. Furthermore, after playing 2 out of 3 of the main expansions, Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire, I have been consistently blown away by the nuances of the story, alongside just how connected I feel with the characters and their struggles throughout. A notable mention must also go to Living World Season 4. I know I'm not alone when I say that I thought it was probably the best story of any MMO I've ever played. I don't think any other MMO has made me cry like that story did. It was incredibly well done. Never before have I felt truly a part of something bigger than I am, and I think Guild Wars 2 has managed to achieve that tremendously. All the questlines include voice acting and beautiful cutscenes, alongside a gorgeous soundtrack and well-written characters that, altogether, successfully suck you into the world of Tyria. Furthermore, when it comes to side quests, Guild Wars 2 uses a dynamic event system as opposed to redundant kill and collect quest chains featured in most MMOs. This makes the world feel vastly more alive, as some events will only be available at certain times. Even if you're the only player in a zone, the world will always feel alive and vibrant, a quality that other MMOs constantly strive to achieve and that Guild Wars 2 handles effortlessly. Guild Wars 2 features 9 different professions. These include the Mesmer, Guardian, Necromancer, Ranger, Elementalist, Warrior, Thief, Engineer, and the Revenant, each of which have 3 different specializations that transform the playstyle of each given class. Outside of this, Guild Wars 2 also breaks away from the traditional trifecta of MMOs, of tank, DPS, and healing roles, instead allowing any class to fill any role, depending on a combination of your character's build, gear used, and weapon choices, dictating the abilities available to you. The combat is highly dynamic, involving dodge rolling and utilizing spell combos to deal more damage to your enemy. It feels fast-paced and forces you to think on your feet, as certain enemies will require use of certain combos to properly impact them. Moreover, Guild Wars 2 does a pretty great job of providing difficulty in all of its content, even open world and leveling, which can often feel trivial in other MMOs that I've personally played. It does this through having mobs typically show up in packs, and having dynamic events with difficult enemies that pop up sporadically throughout every map in the game. And without going into too much detail, endgame PvE comes in all shapes and sizes in this game, with scalable dungeons called fractals that you can dive into with your friends, to 10-man strike missions and raids with diverse and dynamic bosses, both of which require you to work with your fellow players to overcome your adversaries. At the end of the day, combat style is very much down to personal preference. However, I do believe that the way in which Guild Wars 2 combat varies from build to build so drastically makes for a very interesting playthrough on any character you choose to play, and you definitely won't have a dull moment. I have mentioned some aspects of what makes open world content in Guild Wars 2 so much fun, but really haven't even scratched the surface. Guild Wars 2 open world content offers some of the most beautifully designed maps in any game, often featuring gorgeous weather effects and skyboxes, and verticality like no other. On top of this, map completion in Guild Wars 2 is a key part of the game. Each map having a selection of waypoints, points of interest, hero challenges, tasks called hearts, and vistas that often require you to complete a mini jumping puzzle to reach them. Chipping away at map completion is quite satisfying, as going around each map and exploring them offers rewards that can earn you titles, cosmetics, and experience to level your character, even at max level. This is because Guild Wars 2, despite having an unmoving level cap for endgame content, has a moving mastery cap that increases as each expansion adds new open world content and skills that your character can obtain. These masteries range from using gliders around the world, mounts and mount abilities, and more recently, fishing and use of your own boat called a skiff, in the latest expansion. Due to the horizontal progression present in Guild Wars 2, gradually unlocking masteries and increasing the skill set available to your character feels incredibly satisfying, as you are gradually more capable of engaging with the world and reaching new content through the time you spend exploring maps and leveling. Masteries are account bound, which means that gliders, mounts, and other overland abilities will be available on all future ults, even from level 1. This makes the game extremely ult-friendly as well. On top of the exploration of the maps themselves, Guild Wars 2 also includes many extremely well-designed and slightly frustrating jumping puzzles, mount races, gargantuan world bosses, collection achievements, and meta events as a part of its open world content. All of these allow you to engage in the world in a unique way and reward you with greater player ability, cosmetics, legendary materials, and other crafting materials as well. Overall, overland content in Guild Wars 2 is impeccably designed and always has been, improving with every expansion that comes to the game. Now for the topic that I'm probably the most excited about in this game, and that is the mount. I had heard back when Path of Fire came out just how incredible the mounts were in this game, but never tried it out myself until getting back into it more recently. I had high hopes for the mounts and was absolutely blown away even still. Guild Wars 2 features a mount system rivaled by none, where each mount that you unlock through progressing within the Path of Fire and Living World maps possesses a different collection of unique skills that can be used together to successfully navigate the many sprawling maps within the game. The Raptor mount allows you to jump over large gaps, Springer allows you to jump to much greater heights, the Skimmer allows you to move rapidly both on the surface of and underneath the water, the Jackal allows you to blink over gaps and utilize portals that take you into different parts of the map, often unreachable without one. The Griffin mount allows you to dive and soar through the air extremely quickly, covering ground the fastest out of all of the mounts while in the air, whilst the Roller Beetle takes the title of the fastest ground mount. The Skyscale allows you to climb into the air and hover, offering optimal control over the skies. And the most recent mount from the End of Dragons expansion, the Siege Turtle, can be ridden by a second passenger. It can hover and shoot cannons off of it, which are controlled by the second player. There's even a PvP-specific mount called the Warclaw that supports PvP play and offers advantages against the enemy in World vs. World. All the mounts have their own specific job, and on top of that, they all have a weight to them when you control them that is unlike any other mount experience in a game. They also all have their own personality, such as the Raptor trying to shake you off its back, and the Griffin stretching its back out like a cat. You really must try it to experience the satisfaction of riding each mount and encountering how different they all feel from one another to the player themselves, and also get to know all of the awesome little details put into them. On top of this, each mount has a ton of unique skins, and they're all totally dyeable too, which means you can make them unique and individual to your character's look and your own taste as well. Finally, Guild Wars 2 has earned itself a title over the years that will appeal to most MMORPG fans, and that is Fashion Wars 2. This game has endless possibilities when it comes to creating a unique look for your characters, with dyeable all-in-one outfits you can use to reskin your gear, and a transmutation system that allows you to change the look of one item into that of another, at the cost of a transmutation charge or crystal. These crystals can be obtained in many ways, most notably through completing maps. There are many in-game motifs that you can obtain in the game through PvE and PvP content, alongside holiday events. There are also as many as 624 available dies currently in the game, some of which are earnable and others buyable, varying in both hue and rarity. This means that you can greatly customize the appearance and color scheme of your character. Furthermore, not only can you reskin your mounts from the basic skins unlocked in Path of Fire, but you can also dye your mount at your leisure as well, so that will always match the scheme of your outfit. This is the first game that I've personally seen that allows you to dye your mounts, and it is such a cool feature. The same also applies to reskinning and dyeing gliders and backpacks as well. While skins are only available in the store, this means that buying only one skin isn't super limiting, as it means you can dye it any color you want, provided you have the dye. Whilst a large majority of Guild Wars 2 cosmetics do come from the in-game store, this is combated by the fact that players can purchase these items through exchanging their in-game gold, and so never have to spend any of their real money on cosmetics if they can farm the gold instead. Obviously, there are often critiques of MMOs that have extensive cash shops, and I'm usually quick to comment on that myself. However, Guild Wars 2 monetizes itself rather effectively in this regard, showing respect for its player base by offering a large amount of the game for free, no pay-to-win mechanics, and the option to convert gold for anything in the gem store at a reasonable cost, for either cosmetic or convenience. The game truly has one of the best fashion systems I've ever seen, so if you're into flashy staffs, oversized shoulder guards, wings, cloaks, and riding what is effectively Ninetales from Pokemon, this might just be the game for you. And that just about wraps up today's video. I really hope it has given you a perspective of why Guild Wars 2 is worth your download, and might even be the MMO for you. This game has been a great refuge for me, and I really stand by the points I made today, on areas that the game does particularly well at drawing in its loyal audience, and hopefully a new one too. While this video was not sponsored in any way and was made on my own volition, I am an official ArenaNet partner through playing the game regularly on my Twitch channel. So with that in mind, if you do decide to give Guild Wars 2 a try, or revisit an expansion, you can find referral links in my description to download the game for free, or pick up any of the 3 expansions in the store, while also supporting me as a creator. I would really appreciate if you want to go through my links, but of course there is no obligation to do so. So the question of the day, what is your personal favorite aspect of Guild Wars 2? And if you haven't played yet, what are you most excited to try out for yourself? For me, it has to be the amazing mount system. It really is groundbreaking, and until you try it for yourself, you will not truly understand how incredible it really is. So you definitely need to give it a try. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, or if you learned something you didn't know about Guild Wars 2, please do consider liking this video, subscribing to my channel, or even leaving a comment of what you enjoyed from it down below. It really helps out a lot with my goal of one day being a YouTube partner. All of my links for my other socials like Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram are also down below, alongside credits to the amazing individuals who offered their assistance with this video. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for your time, everyone, and until the next video, bye!